After looking at some of the reactions shown from the last video, it showed me that people wanted to see this Incredible Hulk review.
Please, sir. I want some more.
Okay.
I wasn't sure why. Maybe it was because those people wanted to see me suffer watching this movie, so that they don't have to. Maybe people just like seeing me suffer in general. Or maybe people actually liked the last video? Nah, it's probably the suffering option. So I decided to sit down and accept my fate. Until I realised, this film wasn't as horrific as I thought.
It's okay!
For some reason I've always had this idea that this film was absolutely horrible. And I think it's because at the time, other superhero films hadn't come out. Compared to those films, The Incredible Hulk is Oscar-worthy.
And the Oscar goes to...
The Incredible Hulk.
Meanwhile, in our universe...
Comparing it with the rest of the MCU, it's still not that great, but it is entertaining. I was surprised when it had finished because the time went by so quickly, and I think that's because at the end of the day, this film had a story set out, and it completed it. Sort of. The only real loose end of the film was Edward Norton's future on the franchise, and as we all know, that didn't really work out well for him.
Dr. Bruce Banner, belted by gamma rays, turns into the Hulk.
E.T. and Glamour Ray.
There have already been quite a few actors that have played the Hulk. Right now, the current version is being played by Mark Ruffalo, who ended up taking over from Norton in The Avengers. Now, all of these Hulk actors have seemed to bring something different to the character, through their acting abilities and through the stories that they're involved in. And this film is no exception. Edward Norton definitely still leaves a mark on this complex character, even though it was a one-time only deal. And as you can probably guess, when playing a character like this, it isn't easy. Because you have to portray two completely different personas, and make it convincing to the audience that you are each one respectively. You can't have a pathetic version of Hulk, nor a beefed up version of Banner, and this is where Norton shines through. He ends up becoming the CGI Hulk through the forms of motion capture, something Norton stated would have to be a certainty in order for him to play this character in the film, mostly because he wanted to show his range as an actor, even if it meant being painted in sparkly glitter. This motion capture allowed for Hulk to have facial expressions similar to those of Norton's, something that was uncommon within films at that time, and ended up solidifying the connection between Banner and the Hulk. On the flip side, whilst Bruce Banner was just himself, Norton also convincingly portrays him as this weak yet extremely humane character who ends up caring more for others than himself. We see this whilst he is hiding out in Brazil, and a woman at his workplace is about to be taken advantage of. Even though Bruce is clearly outnumbered in the situation, he still stands up for the woman anyways.
Não me deixo conforme. Não bang quando eu come. Wait. Oh, that's not right.
How embarrassing. How embarrassing.
Norton and the script immediately set up one of the themes of this movie: what power can do to people.
Wow, I didn't hear any thunder, but out of your fingers, was that like sparkles?
In the case of Bruce, we see that his incredible power is not something he uses for just his own good. In fact, the whole point of this film is that Bruce is trying to get rid of this incredible power, so that others can't get their hands on it. You may be wondering, trying to steal this
Secret formula!
Well, we wouldn't have known it at the time, but it's the guy who would end up starting the conflict in Civil War and might also be a possible villain in the upcoming Black Widow movie.
It's
General Thunderbolt Ross. In January 2008, the same year as the Incredible Hulk movie released, Marvel introduced a new character into their comics, called the Red Hulk. At the time, the Red Hulk's identity was unknown to both the characters and to the reader. That is until it was revealed that the Red Hulk was actually General Thunderbolt Ross. Now, this film was in pre-production way before the story was introduced, and so didn't have a chance to hint at any future Red Hulk version of Ross. However, he still ends up becoming the antagonist of this movie due to his obsession with creating the ultimate super soldier. And the one way he can do that is through Banner's radioactive blood. This creates a simple idea for the audience to follow. Ross wants Banner's blood to create the ultimate army. Banner doesn't want to give it to him for that very reason. And so, looking back at the theme of power within this movie, we see the plot revolve around a man chasing after power to use it for destruction, and one man trying to get rid of that power in order to prevent it. In a way, this can be built up into one pretty good conflict. However, Ross doesn't really feel like much of a villain here. Sure, he's got motives that are opposite to that of Banner, but it doesn't necessarily make him a villain. At least not one that can challenge the likes of the Hulk.
You win. Perfect.
And so, Ross ends up recruiting others to help him capture his target, a team led by Emil Blonsky. In the film, Blonsky is shocked by the sheer power of the Hulk when hunting him down, and so just like Ross, he too longs for this power. Ross ends up giving him a taste of that using a super soldier serum recovered during the time of Captain America. But he starts to get cocky, and ends up getting absolutely whooped in a showdown with Hulk.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
This theme of power once again working within this character. He enjoys the power he has, but he still wants more. The chase for power can end up leading a person to do some pretty drastic things. And so later on in this film, in order to be even more powerful than the Hulk, Blonsky ends up injecting himself with Banner's blood, turning him into the Abomination. But let's rewind a second, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We haven't even explained who this guy is. Known as Mr. Blue, this guy's the person Banner uses to help him try and find a cure. When Banner ends up going to meet him in person, it leads to Stern helping Banner have a greater control of the Hulk.
A few moments later.
The mixture could be an abomination.
No, God!
No.
No, God, please, no! No! No!
No.
No!
Yeah.
This ends up with Stern injecting Blonsky with Banner's blood, and then also having an encounter with that blood himself. You may be wondering, why is his head bulging?
Oh, jeez.
Well, those with comic book knowledge would know that Samuel Stern is also known as the leader.
Look at this dude. Wait till you see the... No, 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 no. Look at the top of his head.
A supremely intelligent being who is a major enemy to the Hulk. So surely he's going to be a major villain for a future film, right?
I don't think so. Not right now.
Nope, they haven't done anything else with his character. And the same can be said for... This is Betty Ross. She's the one-off love interest of Bruce Banner. She's also the daughter of General Ross. Both these characters end up returning in future films. Does she ever get mentioned again? Nope. There's a pattern I'm starting to see in this film. Most of these characters are never seen or mentioned again in the MCU. Even the main actor isn't ever seen again. No wonder most people don't really associate this as an MCU film. Now, even though she may only be a one-off character, she still plays a major moral compass for the character of Hulk. When you see Hulk, he's this raging beast who can't be stopped by anyone. But yet he seems to care for Betty. And this immediately proves that Banner's subconscious has major effects on the Hulk's actions. Otherwise, the Hulk wouldn't care about anyone that would stand in his way. In this film, we find out that Betty helped create the Hulk, and so she ends up deciding to disobey her father to help get rid of the Hulk. And throughout the film, we see her help Banner in any way she can. She cares for the man behind the ultimate power. She ends up helping the man who shows humility and empathy rather than her own dad, who wants destruction. In several scenes in this film, Hulk gets strengthened by the cries of Betty. We see the Hulk become stronger, not because he wants to be the most powerful creature, but because he wants to save the person he loves. Banner cares so much for Betty that he even ends up sacrificing his chance to be with her at the end, because he knows that it'll be the safest thing for her. Now that the rest of the characters have been accounted for, we can finally talk about this ending. Yay! In my review of Iron Man, I describe a common trope within MCU movies known as the evil twin dilemma.
The evil twin dilemma is something a lot of Marvel films seem to have. When making their movie, it seems that the villains of those movies end up being evil versions of the good guys.
We see this once again in this movie. The final showdown ends up being a fight between Hulk and the Abomination, two giant CGI creatures with similar powers fighting each other. And just like in Iron Man, it gets old real fast. And also just like Iron Man, the way that the hero wins is pretty much through sheer luck. I mean, it's pretty stupid that this mega huge villain ends up being defeated by a crack in the floor. But that's the way it goes, and Hulk ends up running away again, jumping along the buildings as if he was Spider-Man. And that's it? It's a pretty short final battle, and come to think of it, there wasn't much point. It's like the writers couldn't come up with a way to get Banner to a place in his psyche where he originally wants to be cured, and then bring him back to a place where he just wants to hide away again.
That doesn't make sense.
But hey, at the end of the day, we're talking about superheroes who turn green when they get angry. And if you can get on board with that, then you can probably get on board with the ending. So how would I rate this film? As I said at the start of this video, this film is better than I remembered. However, it still lacks a lot in terms of quality compared to future Marvel movies. There's a reason this is universally known
Got him!
as the worst film in the MCU. But yet this film still had something to say, especially about how people chase after power and how that might not actually be the best solution. And if you do have that power, try and use it for good rather than for your own gain. It's like that old saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility.
Wait a second.
Damn it, that's Spider-Man.
Pizza time.
So due to the impressive performance from Norton and the other actors, but brought down by a simple yet lazy script and a few dodgy CGI moments, this film gets a 5 out of 10. Wait a minute, there's one thing I forgot. The surprise cameo from Tony Stark. For the people that didn't end up seeing Nick Fury at the end of Iron Man, this line from Stark
What if I told you we were putting a team together?
would have excited fans about the future of the MCU. Don't worry about the fact that this then doesn't make any sense with Iron Man 2. That can all easily be explained with retcons, every franchise's best friend. But we won't go into Iron Man 2 just yet. We'll leave that for another day. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please comment down below letting me know what you thought, or even give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed it so much that you want to see more, then check out my previous review on Iron Man right here. You can also subscribe and hit the bell to get notified on new videos coming out soon. Right now, the Iron Man 2 review is in the works, but before that, we're going to take a little break from the MCU and look at something a little bit more timey-wimey. Until next time, stay safe.